Now I'm going to talk you through basically preparing the fiberglass, which we will use to cover the roof and form the laminate, preparing it or cutting it to size. So the first thing we do, which is very important, before we bring any fiberglass materials on the roof, we thoroughly clean the roof. So the last video would have shown me and Anthony trimming up the edges of the roof, which is to apply the edge detail to the roof. It's very important after that stage to thoroughly clean the roof. Yeah? The reason for this is if you have small pieces of wood or plastic trim on the decking, when we unroll the glass, it quite readily picks up the debris and it gets trapped in the surface of the glass. Later on, this is going to cause problems with air bubbles, etc. Yeah? So the first thing you do, importantly, before you prepare the glass for the roof, is to clean the roof area and to clean your feet. So one of the common problems is to bring debris up onto the roof during the process. You know, so anyone coming onto the roof at this stage, make sure their feet are clean, no loose debris stuck to their shoes and then getting all over the roof. So we're starting off with a clean surface. Yeah? Right. The basic tool used for this is a Stanley knife or craft knife. I like to have a tape measure, black marker to hand. Product-wise, in front of me we have a roll of fiberglass reinforcing bandage, which is basically to reinforce the edges on, the long lengths, the long runs of edges. Then we have two glass types. This one is a 600 grams per square metre, which we're going to use for the area. And this one is a slightly thinner 450 grams per square metre product. Yeah? The purpose of this one is we're going to cut two pieces, small pieces for each corner. So every corner or detail has two pieces of 450 gram glass. If you try to use the 600, you find it's very difficult to work into shape as it's quite thick. Yeah? So we put the 450 out of the way for now. I'll try not to put it down the customer's chimney. But so the first step is to cut the glass to cover the complete area of the roof, and then as we cut the pieces we'll set them aside so we know exactly what goes where. Yeah? Now, so we're going to start, or we're going to do this roof with the laps running this way towards the gutter. It's not critical, but it can help to drain the roof because chop strand mat, this product, is cut square on one edge and feathered on the other edge. And in theory, if you overlap them and you knit that joint together, that joint is quite flat. Yeah? In reality, the overlaps will be slightly higher than the surrounding areas. So if you run the glass from, in this example, from your right to left, and you form a ridge line, water can be held behind the ridge line. So we're going to do best practice, which is to run the joints towards the gutter, so any raised edges on the roof are not holding water on because the water's running parallel to them. Yeah? So normally I would start off putting the piece along that edge, but we have a stench pipe in the way, so the distance is the same. I'm just going to cut the piece from there to there. Yeah? So good practice is to start the glass onto the trim about halfway. Roll it. I'm going to crease the glass. In this situation we want it on the flat and not necessarily rising up. So we want to finish on the flat part of the trim. So if I crease it at that point, and pull that crease back towards me. There. One good cut with a sharp blade. That should fit there. Okay. Which is correct. Okay, now in this situation, this piece of glass will actually be there, over there, with this stench pipe. So, and measure roughly. Black marker. That's roughly the area where the pipe will be. Just going to cross that area. Should be quite easy later to push this piece of glass over that pipe. I roll back towards the gutter, so when I'm applying this glass later, it's important to get this edge in the correct place. So we're going to start and then unroll again. Yeah? I'll set it to one side. We know this product is 1 meter wide. That's approximately where the edge of that piece will be. So then our question is really, is that too much of an overlap? And the answer is probably yes. When you're overlapping glass, it's worth to keep in mind that the product's actually called chopped strand mat, and the strands are chopped by machine. Most of the products, the standard size to chop the strand is 50 millimeters. So any overlap greater than 50 millimeters is effectively a waste of product, because there's no strands actually bridging the joint past the length of the strand. So don't worry too much about the complexities of this. If you aim for a 75 mil or a 3-inch overlap, if you go off a little bit to 50 mil or on a little bit to 100 mil, it's not too bad. It's important that you achieve a 50 millimeter overlap to achieve the maximum strength on the overlap. So in this situation, we first cut the product to length again, same method. And again, we can crease it, or we can use our marker. We have a mark on the deck, so just going to pull it over and go back approximately 75, 90 mil. We have a little bit of excess here that we don't need. This is 600 grams, so it's a little bit too thick really to use for patching, so I'm going to discard it. We can immediately see if the next layer of glass finishes around there. We have a good 2, 3, 4 inch overlap. Roll it back towards the gutter, so it's safe because you're not working backwards towards the gutter, you'll be playing it on the gutter and working back. Then we repeat the process for the piece there and the small piece to finish. Yeah. This time we'll use the marker method. With this trim, the F300, it's okay to go up the trim because the top of the glass will be dressed over with the tiles. Third piece. Don't need the full width here, so start there, 1 metre, overlap 2 foot, fine. Okay, so now we're in a situation where each piece of glass is in the correct position, or orientation, depending on the roof. So we're going to use this one first on this edge, this one, etc., etc., etc. In theory, they should all fit. For the corners and the patches, we want to use a thinner glass, so we're now using a 450 gram glass, and for each corner detail we need at least 2 pieces, about 175 mil, maybe 200 mil square. So we need 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. We also need to reinforce around our stench pipe, so I'm going to cut about 20 pieces, which should be sufficient to 14 for what we can see, and we'll have 6 left over from the pipe. We also have so the bandage you don't need to cut, you can place it and cut it in situation, yeah? So now we're in a situation, we have enough pieces, we have the bandage for on the edge detail, we have enough pieces for each joint or corner or individual detail, and we have the main area cut the size. So the next process is to clean the roof again. We want the least amount of debris as possible, because the next process is applying the fiberglass resin, and any debris on the roof is going to cause us problems. So I'm going to just tidy these up a little bit, then I'll get the materials on the roof to start to apply the fiberglass.
Northern Building Plastics. Why collect when we can deliver?